Hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right, this is going to be today's topic. It is going to be for the 11th of February. Sorry, it took me a minute to think about what day. We've got a Two of Pentacles. The message may have to do with balance, adaptability, budgeting, financial decisions. Um, it may or may not have anything to do with finances, but it definitely could have to do with, it's a good time to bring things into harmony. Even just the fact that it's 211 to me is kind of like a perfectly balanced number, because two and then one plus one is two, so it's kind of like a 2 2. But this feels like we should have a Two of Pentacles showing up here. It feels like we should have a day for balance. Five of Wands, it's a day to think about things, to determine, how do I bring balance? Okay, are there arguments? Has there been conflict? What's been going on here? Eight of Swords with the Three of Cups. Definitely arguments and conflicts, and not knowing how to restart a conversation without it turning into conflict. Wondering if someone would want to connect again, or is it just too closed off? I believe this is about somebody considering, do I unblock them? Are they blocked? Am I blocked? What has happened here? Let's take another look. Sorry, guys. King of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles. This is the desire to communicate, a generous desire to communicate. But what I can't figure out is this somebody saying, I would host the conversation if they wanted to talk, I would be willing, but I fear I'm still blocked, or should I go ahead and unblock them? I still don't know that they would ever reach out to me. Tell me about the Three of Cups being there sideways. This is very much about human communication. However, the communication could be about something like regarding money. Money is a big problem that can cause a lot of rifts. The Three of Cups being sideways is now clarified by the World and the King of Cups. Three of Cups should be coming together with joy. Somebody really, really, at least on their side, they go, I think we could have a new beginning, and I think it could be wonderful. And I think that we had enough of a positive emotion for each other that we could have a new beginning. It would be amazing. The problem is, how do I even suggest that when we're still in blocked energy? How do I even, say that? Like, I think we could still work this out because, we had such a strong vibe at one point in time. So we have a character really contemplating this. Let me ask, who is it that's doing all this deep contemplation? Sorry, guys. My asthma's been up again. We got the Chariot and we got the Lovers. Okay. Well, this could be somebody who was like, look, once upon a time we were lovers. And because we really did love each other, even though things went south, you know what? There's always going to be a part of me that still loves you. Even if, say we're not going to be able to be lovers anymore, but we should still be able to be friends. There's something about, like, I don't want any more of this tit for tat. With the Chariot card, it's like, haven't we moved on enough yet? I want to move on from the, throwing barbs back and forth. I just want to move forward. But this could also be somebody who says, I really want to be your lover again. I mean, that could be their ultimate motive. I want to be in a romance with you again. So whoever this person is, it could be a Cancerian. They could be a Gemini. As far as gender goes, I don't know. We have a lot of feminine energy here, but then we also have a lot of masculine. So I really couldn't say he or she. But let's just say that our character, they have love in their heart still for this individual that they are currently blocked from connecting to, and they want to figure out how could I even suggest that we have a new beginning when we've been so blocked. How do I even get a chance to tell them, I would absolutely want to still talk to you. I absolutely still want to give to this. How would I say that when there's been a blockage? Okay, universe, you want to weigh in and say how do you communicate when there's just a blockage? We have the Two of Cups, and it is sideways. The universe actually says, y'all are communicating. You don't think you are? Of course you are. You still are in communication energetically. Okay, what does that mean? Magician sideways. The universe is kind of chuckling, going, why do you think you were thinking this right now? It's because they're thinking this of you. They've been manifesting connecting to you just as you are trying to manifest connecting to them. The two of you are already in that space. Oh, that's funny. The Five of Cups. The reason you're thinking all this is because this is a really special person. They think you were a really special person, and there's this big sorrow that something so good could have been lost along the way. This is a real sorrow for both characters. Okay, so universe, and what action needs to happen? Because if that's what we can see about this, then what needs to happen? King. We man overboard. One of the big decks just went down. So if you heard all that clatter, it's because there was some serious weight behind that deck. King of Swords needs to do some talking. For some reason, like, whomever it is, it's the universe has spoken. The King of Swords needs to talk. And as you can see, that whole deck just fell to the ground. That's like the equivalent of the tower. So the ego has to drop, and a Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius has to reach out. That's the person who has to do the reaching out, plain and simple. Are they the person who put up the bigger blockage? Are they the reason that this blockage is there? Is that part of it? I don't know. It says Six of Cups. It says it's kind of a shared energy, like maybe these two blocked each other, but he has to do the reaching out. How's he going to reach out if he's blocked? Nine of Wands. There's some way around this because she stands in front of this line of wands, and this, this is wounded warrior energy. He has to know she's wounded. That can't be a surprise. It can't be a secret that she's wounded. He has to know that. So find the thing, the space, this the opening. Maybe this isn't about blocked, but maybe this is about, like, I don't know how to open the conversation. Sometimes not knowing where to begin is what the blockage is. Because if you look, we actually have a space right between the swords on either side of her. We could go straight for the heart. If we want to talk to somebody and we don't know how to open up a dialogue again, if that's really what the blockage has been, is I don't know what words to say. It says, well, King of Swords, find out what words to say by putting yourself in her shoes, knowing if she's wounded and she's been healing, but she has been a wounded warrior, what would you want to hear if you had been wounded? What words would make the greatest sense to you, especially if this is an important connection? What kind of words would mean the most to you? What kinds of things would you be open to hearing? A King of Swords is smart. He should be able to figure this out. That's how you approach. That's how you communicate. Two of Pentacles. We go right back to that Two of Pentacles yet again. And maybe this is, bringing us back around to, like, what's the mode of the day for the 11th of February? It's, I've got to figure out what to say and how to say it. And he keeps weighing things. But even while weighing things, the entire scenario is still already tilted, which means to me, like, maybe that represents, like, the fact that he knows he's the one who has to break this silence. He's the one who has to remember that whole deck of cards just dropped. So there is something about his ego. It's fine and well and good for him to sit there and say, listen, I would still want to talk to, we'll say her, just because we have that Nine of Wands with the feminine on it. I would still want to talk to her. We really loved each other once upon a time. I mean, I really think that we could have a new beginning. I really would want to have space for her in my life still. I really, really want all this. And it's like, but then you don't know how to start talking to her, but you do know, and you have known all this time. It's just maybe that you haven't been able to calibrate it in yourself yet to be able to say the words. 10 of Wands. I mean, I think that the simplest thing here is, whatever words you need to speak, it should be to lay down burdens. So if he has regrets about what has happened, then maybe that's what he owns. Instead of saying, I know you're hurt, maybe you just own, if you're going to try to reach out to her, you think first from her perspective. I know that she would have been hurt in all this too, but instead of saying, I know you got hurt, maybe he needs to own how he felt. I've been so burdened by what happened. I can't handle how heavily burdened I've been by this because I loved you so much. I did never want you out of my life. I mean, that's him owning his own ish. That's him owning his feelings. That's him really getting to the heart of the matter, which is ultimately, why do you want to talk to somebody? Because it'd be good for you, because you want her energy still. So he's going to have to learn how to own that, is what the universe says. That's his opening line. That's how you maybe get her to listen and maybe want to talk to you also. I mean, the thing is, let's go back and say, well, the universe already said they both want to talk. That's why they're thinking about each other in the first place. They've been thinking about this, about talking again. But he's the one who has to make the move. Universe, can we just see, why is it him really who has to make the move? The Death card. Because whatever went wrong in the past would still go wrong again if no changes have been made. And in this case, the changes somehow have more to do with his side of things. Like maybe he used to not communicate if things got bumpy. You got to show that that's not the case. Maybe if there was ego involved on his side that contributed to the demise of this connection, that's the other thing. Him reaching out will show that he's dropped the ego. Him reaching out will show that something is different. If he's never done this, if he's never reached out and said something really real, like, I can't bear the heaviness that I feel over what happened with us. I don't want it to be like this. If he's never been able to be like raw and honest and say something like that, then maybe that's where, this would be his chance to show that kind of change, that I'm ready to now finally say the things that I really feel, instead of, hide them, or instead of, bury them under layers. Okay, give me just one more for, I'll say the other person, I'll say her. Queen of Swords. The only thing that's probably going to make her turn her face and turn her head and listen is if she gets some kind of truth. The Queen of Swords doesn't tolerate stuff that isn't factual and isn't true. If there's, she's going to need genuine conversation. She wants a conversation too, right? He's a King of Swords. She's a Queen of Swords. It is time for these two to have genuine dialogue, but there can't be any. If everything's not laid out on the table, then there's really no point in a conversation. This is a time where it's all the cards are shown, all the emotions are there. It's interesting. So she is also the King of Pentacles. We saw that already. We saw him wanting to talk to her at the beginning and thinking that she might, want to communicate. He knows she used to give an awful lot. But for her, it's like, yeah, maybe I would want to give again, but we would have to communicate this time in order for me to step forward and say, yes, I would give you another opportunity. I'd like that. For her to step up and say, I still want to give to you, she has to first receive that communication from him. And I say that because first she wants to be the receptor, then she'll take the step of inviting him in. But she has to receive first. I mean, that's very clear in this storyline. And he's been trying to figure out, like, would she, I wish she'd just tell me that she wants to talk, because I really want to, but she won't do that. You have to do that. You have to be in the divine masculine energy, because, or I should say the energy of the sun, because she is in the energy of the moon. And in this storyline, the universe says, and that is actually fair, because that role has to change. She's not going to be chasing you. You actually have to lay down your ego. You have to own what you really feel, and you have to offer her that. If you can't do that, she's not ever going to invite you back in. She doesn't invite unless you show up with something legitimate. I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. It just is what it is based off of the cards that we got. Whether that sounds fair or unfair, I can't say. I can only describe it the way we got those cards. Universe, you have one message just for her. especially on the 2nd. 4 of Cups. I hate to say this, but just because they're sitting in their head does not mean they're going to do anything. They could sit for the rest of their lives and never take action, even though they think all this, because they might perpetually be waiting for her. So it says to her, especially on the 11th, don't get tangled up in regrets. Don't start thinking, if only I had done something different. Don't start thinking like any kind of illusion about how everything is going to work out or should have worked out. If things could be successful, it will be only under the circumstances that we've already laid out. Like those actions would have to happen. If those actions, if he doesn't come forward as a King of Swords, this connection is not going to get back on track or have any second legs. It's going to be done, in which case she won't have missed out on anything because nothing would have changed. Him hanging out, wanting her to do the heavy lifting and reach out wouldn't work. It wouldn't yield success. The only way this relationship has a chance is if he's the one who makes the move. So there's really not anything in this storyline for her to stress out over or get caught up in, like thinking, I wonder what he's going to do. Okay, I guess he's going to reach out any minute now. This kind of says don't buy into any illusions, because he may not. The only time that we saw like what he would need to do is when we were asking the universe. But as far as what we saw, it was just a whole lot of thinking and him trying to figure out what needs to happen. But we didn't really see him doing anything on the 11th. We just saw him contemplating it. So can I just ask that last question? Is this ever going to be happening? Not on the 11th. This could be a long way out with that Knight of Pentacles. I can see why the universe is like, don't get caught up in illusions at any second now, at least for her, because this says, yeah, someday, but maybe this is going to be when they're 89 years old. And he's finally going to be like, I should have told you how I felt about you. My ego was in the way. It could be so many years down the road before he ever does anything, before that change is ever made. And in this storyline, this isn't going to happen until he makes the change. But why is he even thinking about it on the 11th? Sorry, I got to ask that now too. The 8 of Cups and the Hierophant, because, on one hand, he's just heavily thinking about the fact that he walked away from her, and he's realizing, because the universe is like, he's in the classroom still, and the universe is like, you walked away from the person that you wanted to marry. He knows that much, but I still don't know that he's learned that you're the one who needs to change this. If you ever want to fix this, you got to change your ego. He's still in the classroom, but he's learned one thing, which is that's the person I wanted. Okay, I'm going to leave this here. Thanks so much for hanging out. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up. Bye.